It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendo, still celebrating International Women's Month here on the show. And here with me is Bolanle.
Hi,
again.
Ebuka. Again.
How are you doing?
I'm good. It's great to be back here again on a wonderful Sunday on Rubbing Minds. Yes. How have you been enjoying the series?
Absolutely lovely so far. From meeting people who are, of course, like icons and people who you grew up admiring, Jack Silva. I mean, people in careers that, you know, I think a lot of us wanted to work either with the Foreign Affairs or United Nations or be ambassadors when we were in school because it just seemed very fancy. Definitely. But seeing people who have, you know, done that work or are doing that work, and then meeting people who you would necessarily not think of on a regular day, and they're doing things in their little corners and making a difference and inspiring people. I love everything about it. And it's just amazing that we're bringing this to people for them to see that there's more to just, you know, paying lip service to International Women's Month. There's actually people doing things. Yeah,
and it's been such an interesting experience for me because I'm talking to, like you said, legends and women who were at the forefront of breaking barriers. You know, a lot of people in my generation, we definitely have a struggle, but our struggle is very different from women way back when. And just seeing that these women were told no multiple times, and it was just not an option for them. And I'm learning so much.
Yeah. And I think that's a very interesting thing because, you know, people change. I mean, ideas morph, generations are different. And I'm listening, I'm hearing some things that I'm just like, okay, I would like to see how this translates on social media with women, but a younger generation of women when, you know, the older generation are saying certain things or sharing their experiences or what they believe and what they hold on to. So I like that as well. And it's great because this platform, we have a lot of young viewers, but we also have a lot of people who watch to learn. And so that's been very fascinating for me as well. Who do we have today?
Well, we have the Mama G. You know, she's such an icon, and I'm really excited to talk to her. I feel like she's been through a lot, and she's just been so resilient in, you know, overcoming despite the issues that she's had with her family life and her personal life. So I'm really excited about that.
And I like, with her, what I find very impressive is she's in Nollywood. She did Nollywood on her terms, in her corner, consistently, and just became this icon. She's one of those people who you never really see pursuing fame or the celebrity life. Just did the work consistently, and you could tell she's so believable. It's just like, you know.
It's scary. You know, sometimes you just be like, you know, so I'm excited to meet her and just have a conversation with her because I want to see, does she have any form of wicked? I know it's active.
I know what you mean. Every time I've met her, she's actually been very warm. She's very Christian. She holds her faith very strongly. So you're just like, but this is not what I see in this movie. So it takes a great actor to be able to keep pulling that off and make everybody almost believe that. Looking forward to that conversation, definitely. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, Bolanle will be here with some more legends. Don't go away.
Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
This is a Rubbing Minds special for International Women's Month, powered by Lipton.
It's so powerful seeing women who champion unusual roles and own them. Being a carpenter is one thing. Building it into a thriving business you enjoy that ensures many homes come out looking wonderful, that's some boss level stuff. On Rubbing Minds, we speak with a phenomenal woman, the lady carpenter, who isn't letting gender stop her from being what she's always wanted to. My name is Bolanle Olukoni, and on this Rubbing Minds International Women's Month special, Lipton is raising a mug to the lady carpenter. Welcome to the show, Ms. Tura. It's so lovely to meet you. You are a carpenter, and I just find that so fascinating. You know, what inspired you to go into that field?
Well, I actually didn't plan out to be a carpenter, but an opportunity presented itself, and I took it up. I was part of a campaign team with one of the former governor, and after we're done with everything, I was in university then. You know, he said, okay, so he wanted to give us a job, and I said, I don't want a job. That I actually want to do business. And he said, Tura, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know. So he asked me to supply one or two things. And after the supply, everybody was like, wow, this is beautiful. And they can't imagine that it's actually been done by an undergraduate. I studied industrial chemistry. And here I am into furniture. And they're like, wow, this is beautiful. So that was the opportunity that presented itself. Okay. And I started the business like that when I was in school.
So how did you even think, though, that you could do this yourself, you could make it? Because you said you supplied it yourself. Yeah. So talk to us about the process of learning the carpentry work.
Okay, so just like I said, I started with supplies, and one of the time I supplied one, and the customer had an accident, like while making love with his wife.
The bed broke.
The bed broke. Oh my God! I was like, "Oh, Tura, come and see what you've supplied." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I got it from this Chinese company." Like, no, then you go and learn it, and that was the wow moment. Like, okay, so I can actually learn it. So I started looking for furniture school in Lagos. I couldn't get any. I saw a magazine in my cousin's trash. And I picked the magazine. I was like, wow, this is beautiful. They've actually trashed the magazine. And I contacted the company. I told him that I'm interested in learning. I was like, learning? Like, seriously? This is the first time a lady is calling him. So that was how I started. I went to learn from him. Then while I did a job at that time, and the client also told me to do another job. He directed me to an hotel. He said he wanted me to replicate that concept. So I went to the hotel thinking that the manager would introduce the person that did the job so that we can collaborate. But he said his boss did the job. And I met the boss, and the boss was willing to teach me. So I had 2 teachers then. And, I learned from him. I'm still learning. And that was how I started.
Yeah, that's absolutely fascinating. Broken bed inspired this.
Yes, yes. I always thank God that man, altered that statement out of anger, because I wouldn't find myself here.
I can't lie, if we were not on TV, I'd have so many jokes about this, but we're on air. I want to talk a little bit about, your experience being in the industry and the reaction that you often get when you tell people that you're the one who makes makes the furniture, that you're a carpenter. What's that experience been like for you?
Well, the earlier days wasn't funny. People, you've had your hard-earned money to put a building together, and here you are meeting a woman to furnish the house. So they are always skeptical about, I'm not sure I can give it to you. I'm not sure I can give it to you. So I turned my pain into my gain. So what I do is when I'm doing a project, I make sure that I do my best and also tell them that I really want them to refer me. So I've used the power of referral to turn that shock, that rejection and everything. I've used the power of referral to take it away from that. So what they do now is, okay, so how do you start it? Why furniture? So my question has moved from whether I'm going to give you the job or whether you're capable of doing the job to being interested in how I started. So I've been able to manage the shock and turn it to my gain.
I know that you don't work alone. You probably have a team of people that are working with you to make the furniture. Yes. What was that experience like when you were hiring other carpenters to work with you?
It wasn't funny at all. Number one, being a woman, it's not easy being a woman. It wasn't funny at all. Initially, I started by contracting the job out. Maybe I can do part of it, then get other guys to join me, because obviously I can't do it all alone. Then I discovered that most of the time they disappoint. So you mobilize them to work, then probably 2 weeks into the job, they disappear with your money. And I can't be telling my clients stories every day. It's crazy. So I had to call them and tell them that, you know what, guys, yeah, you're good. You know what I want. I want us to work together as staffs. Okay. And they're like, no, they're not cut out for that. Most artisans don't want to work, 9 to 5 or whatever. So, I pray to God that God should give me the wisdom and on how to go about it. So, I lost 95% of them. They all left. And we had 3 projects we're doing. So I had to practically beg them that, guys, please come back. And they said no. So, I went back to God. I won't hide the fact that God helped me. Right. So I went back to God, and I don't know, one way or the other, I asked my production manager to convince them. And I said, okay, assuming I'm a man, they can still manage me. But because I'm a woman, they don't want a woman boss. And I said, okay, you guys, don't worry. We will chat, we will gist. So I'm not the type of boss that says, no. So I'm chatting with you. How's your wife? How are the kids? What's up with you? I pay their school fees. So I make sure that I come down to their level. So they were able to, with time, trust me.
Yeah, that sounds very frustrating, I have to be honest.
Yes,
Just
it
the
is.
fact that they're
It
unable
is.
to, have a leader that's a woman. That sounds very, very frustrating.
It comes with our culture. It comes with our culture. I mean, it's not even here alone. It happens abroad too. So being a woman, you have to convince everybody that you can do it. So I mean, it's frustrating.
Yeah, I feel like that should lead straight into the question of what you're choosing to challenge. That's the theme for this International Women's Month. So what are you choosing to challenge?
Well, for me, I choose to challenge women more. Some of us have been trained or raised to believe that because you're a woman, you're a weaker vessel, there's some things you can do. I choose to challenge you that whatever profession you want to do, you can actually do it. Don't take it back that because you are a woman, you can't find yourself in a male-dominated industry. If that is your passion, if that is what's going to give you joy, I challenge you today to go out there. Do what others are not willing to do so that everything you plan in life will rush back to you.
Yeah, your resilience is inspiring.
Yes.
I can't imagine just the backlash that you face and the obstacles and having to convince people over and over again that I can do this. So I have to say kudos to you.
Thank you.
Lipton is raising a mug to you on that, and
Thank you.
maybe when I buy my house, you'll furnish it for me.
You don't have to wait till you buy it. I can furnish the one you have now.
Thank you so much
Thanks
for coming
for
on the show.
having me.
All right, we're gonna go on a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Wanna get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove. For this International Women's Month, we asked people to join the conversation using the hashtag #RaiseAMug to raise a mug to that special person in their lives. And this is powered by Lipton. Umfa Azaya raised the mug to Fumilayo Jegede Doherty.
This is a Rubbing Minds special for International Women's Month, powered by Lipton.
Patience Ezokwa is the actor's actor. Her name is so popular among many generations of Nigerians, and her interpretation of her roles have gotten her both stigmatized and stand simultaneously. She's been awarded numerous times. In 2012 and 2013, she won Best Supporting Actor at the African Movie Academy Award. Mama G isn't slowing down anytime soon. On this Rubbing Minds International Women's Month special, we speak to Mama G on her journey to where she is now. Lipton is raising a mug to her. Wow, what an absolute honor. It's so nice to finally meet you in person, Ma. I grew up watching you on TV. So when I was told that I was going to interview you, I just kept saying to myself, I get to meet Mama G.
Don't make me feel I'm too old.
You look amazing, and it kind of shows that you've been in this game for a while. You started very young.
Very early.
So tell me a little bit about that experience and what even, made you decide that you wanted to go into entertainment? Because you wear so many different hats.
Actually, from childhood, a lot of people will say, I started acting when I was small. No, I found myself doing what I'm doing, even when I'm with my family. So it wasn't difficult for them to accept me as an actor when they discovered I had interest. So I didn't have a lot of people fighting me not to go. Then it was a taboo for women to come out then. That was why you find a lot of people who, some women who started early. They started outside the country, or they started with makeup. And when they look for women to take up some roles they can't find, they ask them to come and take it. And from there, they became stars and abandoned the makeup or costume they came to do. And started doing that. So they were actually the people that laid the foundation and then encouraged us women, others, to come out. It was like then, if you play football, they'll give you orange.
Yeah.
So you couldn't find a lot of women going into it, but now you can see the flood.
It's amazing.
Yes.
When you first started, did you think that you were going to stay in it long? Was it did you believe that you could make a livelihood from it and it would actually become a career?
I started by just doing what I enjoyed doing, because I couldn't even get myself to go for an audition. So when they told me they came down to Enugu, they are at First Hotel, they are doing auditions, I said, me, crowd things, line up and wait. I didn't have the patience at all. So, but somehow, the paths of the righteous are ordered by God. Right. So God ordered my path by just making things difficult for me in life. Okay. And somehow, My cousin that was in the same class with me in Eastwood now saw what I was going through to raise my children. My husband was very sick, down with diabetes and hypertension. So he was always having, crisis. So he couldn't help much in raising the children. I was struggling, doing whatever I could lay my hands on to help the children. My cousin now said, you have to go to Chief Zebudayo Korigwengobo, his office. They need somebody. I now remember that you worked with Radio Nigeria as an announcer. Maybe you could do something for him. I quickly went there. The team came from Lagos. I don't even know who they are up till now. The team came from Lagos, and when Zebudayo was not there, they said, maybe you are the one we're waiting for. I said, I don't know who you're waiting for. They said, give us script. They gave me a script I read. They said, oh, yeah. Okay, you go. Can you get us an Igbo rapper? And I said, yeah, I have a lot of them. They said, go get it. How long will it take? I said, 45 minutes, 1 hour. I said, go. I rushed, got it from my house. That I didn't need to go and borrow from anybody. They said, you're already here? I said, yes. They so when I came, people were saying, where is this one from? Because I never went there. That was how they picked me. And from there, the man that played my husband in that short advert, when he was commissioned to do a 13 episode of one soap for NTA, he came looking for me. And he came with Zebediah himself, that's Chief Chikopala. They came to my house because they had to go and drop me off after the shoot. I said, we want to know where you live so that whenever we need you, we come and call you. So he came and picked me. I wasn't even there when he came. He dropped a note and drew the map of how I was going to locate them. So as soon as I came back from school, then I went to read further. And then I was doing my chop program. They said, they came to look for you. I took up I ran. I left the food I wanted to eat. Looked for them. That was how I got into the film industry. Everybody, this is lovely. Where have you been? I said, I've been in my house.
It's one of the things where it just came so naturally to you. And, the minute you got on screen, everyone wanted to have a piece
I didn't even know there was anything like stand-up. Because on radio, you just do what you can, and that was how I got into the industry without knowing what was involved, what I should do and what I shouldn't do. I came and I started studying because I'm someone that loves to study my environment, study people around, know who to relate with and who to give space and things like that. So that's how the path of life took me into the industry. And that's why when people started noticing me, I didn't even know why. I didn't see what I was doing that was different from what others were doing. So.
All right, we're going to go on a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove. For this International Women's Month, we asked people to join the conversation using the hashtag #RaiseAMug to raise a mug to that special person in their lives. And this is powered by Lipton. Stanley Ikechukwu raised the mug to Ike Dinobi Favor.
This is a Rubbin Minds special for International Women's Month, powered by Lipton.
I want to talk about, the portrayal and a lot of the characters that you play on TV. I don't know anyone that plays a wicked mother-in-law better than you. It is, and the thing about it is you do it so well. Like, when I watch it, I'm just like, God, my chest. What do you think happened that, directors kept calling you over and over again for that role? And how do you think that has affected you personally?
At a stage, I thought it was going to affect me negatively. But rather, it endeared me to, that's when you do, I have to quote the Bible here. In James chapter 1, he said, every good gift comes from God. So mine led me into the hearts of people. They wanted to know who is doing all this. Even those who went to school with me, they never knew I could do such things because they knew I am a very emotional person. So when they saw me doing it, they started calling, Patience, I can't believe this. So I have to tell people that you're not like that, too. They became my advocate, So I think the thing comes from inside. But I know that I'm one person that anything I want to do, I want to do the best I know of it. So I get to do anything so that nobody will fault me anywhere.
Okay.
So that passion has always led me to doing things right. When things were really hard, when I was retrenched from Radio Nigeria, I went into, because I did home economics in school, I went into small shops, bakery and things like that, wedding cakes, and it really helped me. My husband was sick, and I got married at a very tender age. So I didn't like begging anybody for anything. Right. So I always wanted to stand on my own. I hated to beg anybody for anything. So all that led me into, is he moving now? I'm going to do it well. Right. So that nobody will say, why didn't you do it this way? That was what led me.
Yeah.
And I thank God he empowered me.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and like you said, the stardom is out of this world. I always say that I don't know if there's anyone on the continent of Africa and globally that wouldn't recognize you. I want to talk a little bit about the evolution of the industry, because you've been part of it for so long, and
that's right.
You have seen so many different changes. Compared to when you first started and now, what would you say what are the good parts about it, and what are some parts that you hope to see change?
I'm still trying to find out the good things about it. When we started, your hard work takes you to anywhere. Okay. But this time, it's even difficult for people to give you opportunity to show what you can do. Everything's all about money, 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 money. Some who are even good, they price themselves out of market. But in our own case, we didn't bother about money. We didn't even know there was so much money in the industry. But we just did what we enjoyed doing. You don't go for an audition and they give you a role and then you didn't do it because they didn't pay you enough. No. For the fact that you were giving that role gives you power to showcase what you can. And me, I believe from the onset, when I saw I learned the industry, what is there and what shouldn't be there. And I knew there were things that you look out for, stardom and finance. I knew that if I pursued finance from early experiences I had, if you pursue finance, it gets to a point and it stops because nothing backs it up from outside. But if you get stardom, it will carry you on, the finance will come on its own, and you will be placed there, and by the goodwill of people who watch your movies, you will be there. Even if I don't do movies now for 6 months, I'm not coming back as a new face. I'm still coming back as Patience or Mama G. G for General.
Mama G, you're actually a vibe. You're just a mood. So in your opinion, you feel like actors need to do it for the craft?
Yes.
Okay.
Do
you feel like, because I had a conversation earlier, I had a conversation on another episode with Joke Silva, Auntie Joke, and she talked about how...
My senior.
Yeah, she said that, she feels like the industry does not respect the actors as much in terms of valuing them. What are your thoughts on that? Because, you're saying that actors should do it for the craft and not for the money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have really brought us down to a level where I can't go. And I think part of the reason is from us. Okay. Because if they give me a role to play, and they know that Patience will do well on that role, and I reject it because they're not paying me much, somebody else will go for less and take it up. This is what is killing the industry.
I see what you're saying.
But if you give it to me, for the fact that you know that I'm going to play well on this role, you that is giving me the job won't even look at how much you're paying me. Because entertainment is unquantifiable. Right. It's like going to the market now. You find tomatoes, broken ones, and you find the fresh one. Because of money, you go for the broken ones. You are bound to catch disease from those ones. But the fresh one would have taken you to a healthy life. So that is what it is. If you abandon an actor because of the money, you could just go on, talk yourself into bringing the actor because you had him or her in mind before, while writing the script even.
Right.
That person is bound to give you what you want. And when the movie comes out, all the stress about money and working, all the stress would have been forgotten. It's like somebody who is in labor pain. as soon as you have your baby, you forget the pains. So the outcome of the movie, because you use the right person, will make you forget the pain of shooting and producing.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. I want to talk about the kind of roles that you're choosing now. Because I've seen there's a lot of diversity, you know, you're doing a lot more comedy as well. Do you still find yourself being drawn to the wicked mother-in-law typecast? Or have you found that these days you're like, it's okay, I've done enough of that?
No, I can never do enough of anything. And a good actor should be elastic.
Okay.
Anything they give you to do, you do it well. That's my belief. So whether it's comedy, I do comedy well. I know what comedy needs for me to make people laugh, isn't it? So I go for it. If it's the strong one, like being who I mean, that they know me for, that's why she was nigger. Schwarzenegger does what, even as a governor, he still does what he knows best how to do. I would do that. It's just like a medical doctor. You measure in gynecology. That doesn't stop you from treating children at some point. So measuring in wickedness in others does not mean that I cannot do others, because I'm elastic by God's grace.
Right, and you're an actor. It's not who you are. Fundamentally.
Yes.
What kind of advice would you give? Because, you know, I find it very fascinating, your perspective on the industry. What kind of advice would you give to the newer actors?
If you're here to act, act. Don't run lines. Lines are there for you to guide you so that you'll not deviate from the storyline. But do the act. The writer has done his own. Find out the mind of the writer and then bring it out and even add more to it. Because if I give you a goosey to cook a goosey soup, that's not enough. You need oil. You need all the spices and things like that. And even meat. So you, as an actor, it is for you to now add those things to make the goosey soup come out fine. So my role must be delivered in such a way that nobody else can give better than what I have given. You see, so I urge the new actors, don't depend on makeup. Don't depend on what you're wearing and the other. All those things will come. There are people who are paid to do that. We have costumiers. It is their duty to costume you to go with the story, the role you are playing. The location manager to bring location that suits the act.
Right.
So your own, you also bring it out. Don't wait for people to do your work, or you want to, you know, most people now they come, they want to make themselves up as if makeup is what you're going to see, or the dress you're wearing is what they're going to see. No. And then you forget the main thing, which is the act itself. So the act is what makes you who you are.
This has been International Women's Month special with Rubbin Minds. My name is Balani. We'll be right back after this.
Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove. Empress Cindy Nato-C raised the mark to Angela Wonsu.
This is a Rubbing Minds special for International Women's Month, powered by Lipton.
You know, I want to talk a little bit about, you know, you talked earlier about how you were married at such a young age. What led to that? Was that a decision that you made yourself? Did you follow, you know?
No, it was my parents' decision.
Okay.
You know, I come from a polygamous family where my mother's mate, the daughter gets married, and my mother wants her own daughter to get married. And then the one that presented himself then, they said I couldn't wait for my love. Then, I was forced into marriage. That's it.
Yeah. And what was the experience like being married so young?
It was horrible. But you know, our own time was a time where you don't have to decide who marries you. Your parents could arrange it. Your cousin, you know, anybody can arrange the marriage, and once your parents have accepted it, you are in for it. Yes.
Was it an experience where you grew into loving your husband, or would you say it was more of just a companionship?
Well, both. Both. But when you're trying to please your parents, because in our family, you don't come back from your husband's place. Yeah. You stay, manage it, make the best out of it. So when I came in, I saw what was involved. I put my head, because I couldn't disappoint my father who loved me so much. So I had to stay back. And once you start having children, in my place, it's not easy for you to abandon your children. And so I had to stay. Okay. The reason I stayed and carried it was, one, to please my family. Second, to take care of my children. So whether there was love or not, does not matter.
You know, earlier you talked a little bit about how your commitment and your need to be able to take care of your children was what inspired you to find whatever you could put your hands to.
That's right.
How were you able, where did you find that resilience and that strength to raise your children while you're in so many ways being the financial breadwinner for your family?
When you discover that the man is already sick with secular disease, terminal disease, you even have to battle with training the children and then helping him out. He's your husband, you can't deny it. Yeah. And you must do your duty as a wife. And coming from a Christian background, we are not allowed to divorce. So that gave me the courage to really do what I could to. I remember the first time he went into coma. When he came back, he recovered, and he said, if anybody told him I was going to be able to take care of him like that, he wouldn't believe. I said, why? But you're my husband. So everybody thought I was going to, at a time, bust out and say, I'm done with this. But I couldn't, because I have my family to protect and I have my children to take care of.
You know, it's interesting because I'm listening to you, there's a very different sense of duty that I feel like my generation has now. What are your thoughts on the way marriages, you know, are appearing to seem? Do you feel like there's some room for change, or do you prefer this new generation where people have their own agency to pick and choose how they marry?
That is not marriage for me. That is just relationship that could be broken anytime. But for me, marriage is forever, till death do us part. And I don't care what I meet in it. And that's the way I brought up my children, and that's what I'm looking out for. And by God's grace, with prayers, it's working out for me. I watched them, and there was a time I went to UK to see my daughter, and then my daughter behaved, so I said, I don't know why you, Choma, should behave like that. The husband said, no, mommy, Choma did not do anything. I felt so ashamed of myself. Yeah. Easy. So what we have today baffles me. And I feel for the children that they are giving birth to, because I don't know how they will learn something better from their parents.
Right.
You know, so we are praying for this generation and the generation to come. That is our duty as good mothers, to pray for them, because without our prayers, I mean, what you see today is a child's play. In future, it will be worse. And that's what we don't want to hear. I don't want my generation yet to come to ever have that kind of problem. So I start today to pray for it. Right.
Very insightful. I want to talk about the children. You know, you mentioned raising children, and I know you have 5 children, and some of them are 4.
The kind of adoption I do is, I discovered that each time we went to any place, especially in those remote areas, went to shoot, you see children who are interested in the movie, they just go with us. And when we come to the hotel where we stay, you see them loitering about. You talk and talk and talk. They hide when they see you. You go. The next thing you hear that one of them is pregnant, and I'll make sure that they don't abort those children. So when I pick them up, I take care of them until they give birth. When these children grow up, you can take your child and go. So it's not like proper adoption.
Right.
Their mothers stay, and I take care of them. And then when they want to go, they go. Some of them go and come back. The children come back and stay with me. And I pay their school fees by God's grace. Because I want to see those children. You don't know what they are going to be tomorrow. And some of these women, when they want to throw them away because of the stress, they discover that in future they need them. They still come back to pick them up. So I just take care of those children for as long as I can.
You have such an interesting legacy, and it's so beautiful to see. You know, I like the perspective that you're giving, because I feel like my generation is quite one-tracked and one-minded. I want to find out from you, when it comes to this Women's Month theme, I choose to challenge. What are you choosing to challenge?
I'm going to continue to pick up single mothers from the street, from anywhere. That's a challenge, because nobody thinks about them. Some of these single mothers, they find it difficult to even eat how much more. And a hungry man is an angry man. And they could go on sleeping with anybody they see to get 1 naira, 2 naira, to even buy small chops for the children. And so I still want to continue to look into their case. And I also want to have some of them who can't take care of their children, have them, as long as they can stay with me. I'll keep doing it until death do us part.
Yeah.
I can't leave those children because a lot of them are taking care of me now.
That's amazing.
Because when they call and say, Mommy,
yeah.
I feel happy.
Yeah.
So
And
the
that's a beautiful
challenge there is to see that the right things are done at the right time and at the right places. And if you don't, in my dialect they say, if you don't throw away, you cannot pick. So what I'm going to throw away is picking them up. If I had to eat like 2 eggs in a week, I may forfeit some weeks of egg to have enough to help these children. And then when I see those of them who are interested in going to school, but because of money, I still go to their families and give them. They could stay with their parents. I give what I can to them. It's not every time, once in a while. For you single mothers, it's not easy. I know what exactly you are going through because even those of us who had our husbands but they were sick, we are like single mothers because we are doing things alone without help. Don't worry. If it is pencil that you bought for your son or your daughter, don't worry, it will come back to you. The Bible says, throw your bread into the waters. After many days, it will surface again. So I urge you to work hard. Look for something to do. Don't depend on what people give to you. Struggle. I struggled to get to where I am today. It was not easy. I don't have time to say things about that. But struggle. Find something to do, no matter how small. I fried buns, puff, to make both ends meet. So as for widows, you know, some of us became widows before our husbands died. But now, our children are taking care of us. My last birthday, my children bought a car for me. You see, if I had abandoned them, maybe they would have become armed robbers and things that I wouldn't want to hear. But today, because of the struggle, I didn't look at anybody's face. I didn't go to anybody's house. Though. I will go to even trade fair centers and buy stands, cook rice, cook and sell. I was able to make it. It's all hard work. It's all hard work. The strength is there. God knows that at this time that you will be who you are today. And He knows where He's taking you. So pick up the strength and the courage that God has given to you. Move on. Let nobody outside even know what you're going through with those children. Because the children are watching you. And they'll be proud of you tomorrow. My children are so proud of me today. And I'm proud of them because they listen to me. But if you deviate, I don't know what will come out of it. And you may not like it.
Thank you so much, Mama G, for sitting down and talking. It was such an honor to meet you.
Thank you.
You truly are just a beautiful experience. And I just had such a good time talking with you. This has been International Women's Month special with Rubbin Minds. My name is Balanli. We'll be right back after this.
Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
This is a Rubbin Minds special for International Women's Month, powered by Lipton.
For this International Women's Month, we asked people to join the conversation using the hashtag #RaiseAMug to raise a mug to that special person in their lives. And this is powered by Lipton. Hey there! It's the last episode of this year's Rubbin Minds International Women's Month special, powered by Lipton. Every year presents us with different themes, but one goal: the attainment of a society that allows for equality and the freedom for everyone to aspire to whatever heights they want, regardless of gender.
And while we're talking of generation equality, which of course is the theme for this year's International Women's Month, what does that evoke to you? What does that mean to you?
Well, what that means is essentially what a person like my dad did. My dad never for a second looked at me and said, baby girl who is going to be subordinated in terms of the opportunities that I would give her to be the best that she can be. So every family that has a baby girl should immediately look at that girl as someone who is born with all the faculties to be able to lead.
Lipton has helped advance these conversations by raising a mug to women in all spaces and telling every woman that they can be. This month, we've celebrated 15 Amazons and women who have chosen to break norms. These women are not shy in their demands that society does better. And all month long, Lipton raised a mug to these women. This isn't a journey that started today. Bolanle Olukani has helped Ebuka with the heavy liftings on the show to push conversations that truly matter to everyone. We've had a fantastic 1 month, and it's now time to hear from our guests again. On the very first episode, activist and entrepreneur Aisha Yusufu raised the mug to every woman and girl with this message.
To the Nigerian woman, you're great, you're amazing, you're fantastic. You stand on irrespective of what is thrown at you. The forces that come at you, yet you never give up. I want to tell you that this is the International Women's Month. It's our month. You know what? Now you get this one. May you continue the carry and the go. No even look and see where anybody they talk. Just keep going. And you know, this is for you. Let's get going. They are waiting for us. It's time for us to show them that indeed. Now we get them.
Agatha Amata, who's consistently created space for others, be it on her TV talk show Inside Out with Agatha or on television at Rave, had this to say.
Women are better leaders, but a lot of them don't even know it. So, you know, you have a gem in the raw that hasn't even discovered herself. And I say I've had young ladies come to me. There's always this entitlement that because I am female, I need special treatment. Okay. That I see in a lot of young women. Okay. And they need to lose it. Even when I'm talking to people, women, for instance, single mothers, I have a foundation. The first thing I hear is, I'm a single mother. And I say, so what? Is that a badge?
This year, Lipton was very deliberate at celebrating and raising a mark to women in unusual careers. Our first guest for this month was Obi, a taxi driver, who told us how she is not letting society dictate to her.
Having to call your rider to tell the rider you're waiting outside, and the rider is like, what? Is this a lady? No, I worked a male driver.
Really?
Yeah, I get that a lot. And I at some point I had to come to terms with it and, you know, try as much as I can to, you know, accept that this kind of rejection will always come, but I had to apply wisdom.
On the second week, we had veteran actor Joke Silva, former ambassador for Nigeria to Zambia and Malawi, ambassador for Lake Marcus Bello, and finally, the lady cobbler, and here's what they had to say.
Whatever it is, you are measured as to your intelligence. So why then do women now begin to accept the fact that there must be a distinction between a man and a woman?
Okay.
You know, there's this stereotyping of women. We are either witches, whores, saints, or sinners.
Right. Yeah.
You know, the eternal wicked mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's not true. That's not the reality.
They feel because I'm a lady or female, I can't.
Right.
And then competence is always the question. Can you do it? Are you sure you can do it? Are you sure you'll be able to do it? And then I having to convince them. I'm always convincing.
Thank you so much, Lipton, for empowering these conversations. On the third week, Bolanle, in a blue-striped blazer, asked two of Nigeria's first ladies what their thoughts were on the state of women's rights in the country, education for the girl child, sexual and gender-based violence, and more.
Over the past 10 years, Nigeria has performed woefully on all indices that measure gender equality and women's empowerment. We live in these deeply patriarchal societies which use culture, tradition, and religion to determine women's roles and determine the kind of space or the kind of voice that they can have. And it's throughout their life cycle.
We're not in a country where women are at parity with their male counterparts right from childhood into adulthood. We see the discrepancy in females that are in elective positions, females that are in government positions, and the affirmative action is nowhere near being met in Nigeria. The 35% that is recommended, I think we're currently at 6 or 8%.
We rounded off the conversation with a chat with Precious, the lady mechanic.
I choose to challenge every female out there who is aspiring or who wants to go into one field or the other, no matter what it is. Do not let people's opinion overshadow yours, no matter what it is. The profession I choose for myself has been stereotyped as a profession meant for men only.
Today, we just feel so much excitement, as we should, and gratitude that you joined us on this International Women's Month special, powered by Lipton. And here's how you can join the conversation online. You can join the conversation on social media using the hashtag Rubbin Minds and hashtag LiptonXIWM2021. Now, over to you, Ebuka and Bolande.
This is a Rubbing Minds special for International Women's Month, powered by Lipton.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, where have you been? Absolutely amazing show, Bolanle. Tell me you enjoyed yourself, because I did.
I had a wonderful time. Like you said, Mama G is such a delight. She just has so much energy and charisma, and she just has a beautiful essence.
Yeah.
I was just laughing all over the place.
Yeah.
And I was, I found her statements on marriage very interesting. And, like I said, I think it's important that we hear what the older generation has to say. And, she had very different perspectives on what a lot of people think marriage is.
Yeah. Like I always say, you tell your story, you tell your truth. People decide to learn lessons from there. It doesn't mean they have to do what you've done. And if people want to do what you've done, it's also fine. But tell your story, tell your truth, and then people can decide what they want to do with it. I like the fact that she doesn't shy away from what she believes in, and that is what I always think everybody should stand for. Speak your truth. Just speak your truth. And the carpenter, are you not fascinated?
I think I was really bothered by just the nuances and the way she has to coddle her staff because she's a woman. It was just like, those are the kind of things that's why we're having these kind of episodes. That's why we're having these conversations, because people will say, oh, it's not because of that. It's because maybe she's young. No, it's because she's a woman. Yeah. Recently I had a conversation on Twitter about, the way my security guard has conversations with me. And I had someone call me and said, it's not because of you're a woman, it's because you don't give him money, right? And they were adamant that I should delete the post and I should take it down. And I was like, no, it's because, and it was a man. And I always tell men that it's important that you're allies and you listen to us when we're speaking. There's no way you can understand what I go through because you're not in my body, you've never been a woman. So I really do hope that a lot more people are listening.
Well, we've been listening. Thank you very much, Bonali, for all you've done so far. And like I said, I hope you've been listening as well. If you have not, please join the conversation on Twitter. Rubbin Minds now is the handle. Please use the hashtag Rubbin Minds when you tweet at us. Have a great day. I'll see you next Sunday.
It's all on you now, and just give me some reaction.